Hello, my name is Terry McCauley, and I'm currently the football rules analyst for NBC Sports, where you may see or hear me on Notre Dame home broadcasts and Sunday Night Football. I'm the former coordinator of officiating for the Big East and American conferences for 10 years, and was a referee in the NFL for 17 years. Targeting seemed to be one of the most discussed topics in weeks 1 and 2 of the college football season. So I decided to put together a two-part video series on targeting. This first part is a primer on the targeting rule and the process replay officials used to determine whether a targeting foul has occurred. Note that this is not my process. This process was developed by the National Coordinator of Replay for college football and is intended to provide a roadmap to consistent and accurate enforcement of the targeting rule. Let me add, this series will not delve into whether there should be levels of targeting and whether level 1 should only be a 15-yard penalty with no disqualification. I proposed that model in 2013 and I'm still in favor of it. But that's not why we're here today. So let's get started with Targeting 101. Targeting 101. Let's talk about it. There are two types of targeting. The first applies to every player on the field. It is illegal to forcibly contact an opponent using the crown of the helmet to any part of the opponent's body. And note, the crown is not defined to be just the top of the helmet as we would normally think about it. The crown is the area above the face mask all the way around the helmet. That is considered the crown in college football for purposes of targeting. The second type of targeting is forcible contact to the head and neck area of a defenseless player using the helmet, shoulder, forearm, elbow, or fist. Those are the two types of targeting. Now, replay, if it's not called on the field, can create the foul. They can stop the game and create the foul if it's not called. So analyzing targeting. The process the replay official uses when he sees a play, whether it's been called on the field or not, and the game is stopped to review. Here's the process. The first question, and it's a checklist, by the way. It's really a checklist. And the first question the replay official is going to ask himself is the opponent defenseless? This tells us whether both types of targeting may apply on this play. If a player is defenseless, he cannot be targeted in the head and neck area. And of course, just like any other players, he can't be forcibly contacted by an opponent who uses the crown of the helmet. So this is the first question they ask. Now, we're going to get into the aspects of targeting that are defined in the rule book. Again, it's a checklist. And each aspect, as we ask the questions for each aspect, the replay official must confirm. He must have indisputable video evidence to confirm that that aspect is indeed the case and has occurred before he can move on to determine whether a targeting foul will be applied. So the first question, is the player taking aim for the purpose of attacking the opponent? What this means is for players who are making a legitimate attempt to intercept a pass, players who are making a tackle and bracing for contact, runners who are lowering their head to get low to avoid being tackled or to gain additional yardage, defensive linemen who are rushing the quarterback, try to block the pass, and the arm comes down on the head. None of those situations is a player taking aim for the purposes of targeting an opponent. So if you don't answer this question yes, if you don't have the video indisputable evidence to answer this question yes, you stop here and there is no targeting on the play. Next, is there an indicator of targeting? And the book defines these indicators: a launch, a crouch and upward thrust, leading with the helmet, shoulder, forearm, fist, or elbow, and lowering the head before attacking with the crown. The reason they have indicators in the book is these actions, which are not proper technique, lend themselves to a much greater potential for forcible contact to the head and neck area or using the crown, and significantly raise the possibility of significant injury, spinal injury, concussions, neck injuries, etc. So there must be one of these indicators of targeting. If there is not one of these indicators, then the replay official says no, there is no targeting. If it's called on the field, it's reversed, or he doesn't create a foul. This must occur. Now we get to the third aspect. Is there forcible contact using the crown of the helmet to any part of the opponent's body? And I'll stop right there and say this rule is mostly intended to protect the player doing the hitting. Both the NFL and college football have injury data that shows there is a significant increase risk of injury to head, neck, spine when a player assumes the posture of leading with the crown of his helmet. So that's why it doesn't matter where contact occurs. Any contact. Imagine lowering your head and running into a brick wall, the compression on your head. That's what they're trying to eliminate with this aspect of the rule, this type of the rule, targeting. Or if the player is defenseless, is there forcible contact to the head and neck area using the helmet, shoulder, forearm, elbow, or fist? Those are the last two questions. Now, if we go through this process and we determine yes to every part of these questions, every one of these questions, every aspect, then replay has confirmed the targeting and the player is disqualified. If any of them do not apply, the targeting foul is reversed if called on the field, or replay doesn't create the foul after review. For completeness, these are from the rule book. This is the list of defenseless players. Who is defenseless on the field? Note that it says it includes these, but it's not limited to these, so there can be other situations not specifically noted. But for the most part, this is a complete list, and all these players, if they're in this situation, they're protected from forcible contact to the head and neck area. So that's it. Again, a very quick, basic tutorial on the targeting rule. Again, you may hear me on Sunday Night Football, Notre Dame broadcasts. If you want to follow me, I've spent a lot of time, obviously, on my Twitter account talking about targeting. I see a lot of them. I go through the process. If I have video, I note it, and I will go through just this exact process I've gone with you on each and every one of them, so everybody's comfortable, and hopefully I'm being consistent. And certainly if I can be consistent, I think everyone else can as well. So that's it. That's the rule and that's the process. Now you have the foundation for viewing part 2 of this series, where I'm going to show numerous plays that demonstrate the inconsistencies from weeks 1 and 2 that have led to much of the frustration with the targeting rule.